Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys, I hope that all of you are doing well. It's time for your daily dose of some fragrance content, and for today I've prepared a list of 10 scents from the brand of fragrance world that are affordable and work well in the fall time. In the upcoming few weeks I'll be doing a very similar list covering fall time scents from all the major fragrance brands from the Middle East, and today I'm starting with Fragrance World. And my first suggestion in today's video is called Just a Swat. And this fragrance, for one reason or another, has received quite a bit of hate in the community, probably because bottle-wise it's very similar to another fragrance from the Middle East, and that's Latafa Assad. Both Just a Swat and Latafa Assad are trying to do the same thing. They've been heavily inspired by Dior Sauvage Elixir. But when it comes to Assad, you're thinking more about a heavy twist, sweet vanillic twist on the original DNA, and when it comes to Just a Swat, this feels more like a straight up clone of Sauvage Elixir itself. Carries very similar scent to the original fragrance, relying very heavily on those spicy notes, the cinnamon, the nutmeg, the licorice, the cardamom, just like the original fragrance. A bit of lavender, some warmth, some ambery warmth and sweetness on the dry down. All around, Just a Swat feels a lot closer to Sauvage Elixir compared to Assad. Has good performance, good projection, and has a pretty low price. My second suggestion is part of the Proud of You line, which is of course a line that's cloning or has been heavily inspired by the Stronger With You line from Armani. And my suggestion today is called Amber. Proud of You Amber. And this one, as you can probably guess, has been inspired by Stronger With You Amber. And again, very similar to the original fragrance, carrying this very sort of recognizable scent profile of the original scent. That's very sweet, relies heavily on the notes of vanilla and amber. Some other notes that are adding more sweetness and more warmth to the whole scent profile. But just like the original, Proud of You Amber actually has a ramped up amber note, and it's done really nicely. The good thing about this fragrance is that it has pretty strong performance. As you can see, it has a pressurized sprayer, and the best thing out of all is that it's quite affordable. My next suggestion is part of the Supreme Lom line, and it's called Supreme Lom Extreme. I think there's one other fragrance in this line, at least from what I've gathered so far. And this one, probably, as you can guess looking at the bottle design, has been very heavily inspired by Lom Ideal Extreme from Guerlain. And it's actually done quite nicely. Now, it's not a straight up clone to Lom Ideal Extreme, but smells pretty similar. It's a very masculine fragrance that has some spiciness, has a strong almond note. You get a bit of fruity sweetness in here from a plum note. You get some leather, you got some tobacco, you got some ambery sweetness. It's a very sort of an old school feeling masculine scent. That's great for the cold weather. Has decent performance and projection, and all around I've been really enjoying Supreme Lom Extreme, and in fact the other member of this line, which is simply called Supreme Lom as well. A little bit underrated in my opinion, and this is one of those scents for fragrance world that needs a bit of time to macerate before it actually reaches its full potential, but the scent itself is really nice. Not a straight up clone, more like a slight twist, but still can do the same job as the original fragrance. My next suggestion is part of the Gustav Homme line, which is all of them in this line are clones of Jean-Paul Gaultier fragrances, and this particular one is called Leper From, and it's a clone of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Leper From. Now, I absolutely love the original fragrance. It's one of my most favorite members of the original Le Mans line, and Jean Gustav Homme Leper From actually feels very similar to the original fragrance, and at least from what I've tried, this is the best clone scent-wise, how close it is to the original fragrance. Has very decent performance, very decent projection, again pretty affordable, and again this is one of those scents that needs a bit of time to sit and macerate before it actually becomes as close as it eventually gets to the original fragrance. I like the bottle design, and all around Jean Gustav Homme Leper From, in my opinion, is a great offering from the brand of fragrance world. My next suggestion is part of the Posh line, and it's called Posh Mold, and this is a fragrance that's been very heavily inspired by Thierry Mugler's Amen Pure Mold, and it's done absolutely fantastically. I really like this one. It the original fragrance unfortunately discontinued at this point in time. It's this very unique scent that feels dark, feels spicy, feels boozy, feels sweet as well, and the Posh Mold actually does a really good job at copying and replicating the original scent. Has really good performance, really good projection. Again, feeling a little bit old school, but I really like the scent of this one. Now, this can be a little bit hard to find, so if you cannot get your hands on Posh Mold, maybe you can check out, or maybe you can get the other clone from Fragrance World of the very same fragrance, which is called Man Nebula. Now, this is also a very nice scent on its own, a pretty good clone of the original fragrance. But this just feels a little bit softer, and if I have to choose between the two, I will go with Posh Mold. But again, if you cannot get your hands on Posh Mold, then you can pretty much try to search out Man Nebula as well. My next suggestion is part of the olfactory line, and it's called Music Fest, and this one is heavily inspired by Jazz Club from Maison Margiela. And again, done pretty nicely. This is quite a good clone of Jazz Club. Now, again, this is one of those scents that actually needed a bit of time, a bit of maceration before reaching its full potential. But fast forward a few months since I've got my bottle, and this thing nowadays smells really nice. Just like the original fragrance, it relies on some spices. There's a hint of freshness in here. There's an neroli note. There's a bit of a sort of a bergamot note, something citrusy, slightly fresh. You get a strong rum note with this fragrance. You get quite a bit of tobacco, some vanillic and ambery sweetness. All around, it's done quite nicely, and it's a pretty good clone of the original fragrance. Can also serve as an alternative to Dolce & Gabbana The One EDP as well, because the original scents tend to smell pretty similar to each other. All around, a very good offering from the brand of Fragrance World, and again, it's quite affordable. Another great recent release from the brand of Fragrance World is called Nuke 2.0, and this, as you can probably guess, has been heavily inspired by Spice Bomb Extreme. Now, it's not a one-to-one clone to Spice Bomb Extreme, lacks a bit of the sweetness of the original fragrance. This feels like a slightly fresher take on the original DNA, and also feels a little bit more spicy, like having a stronger cinnamon note compared to the original fragrance. But other than that, feeling quite similar to Spice Bomb Extreme. Has a very good performance, especially the projection, because of the strong cinnamon note. This actually tends to project really nicely. It's pretty affordable, and has pretty decent quality, and all around again can serve as a great alternative to Spice Bomb Extreme. Another great recent release from the brand of Fragrance World is called Soir. I just did a review of this one, I think it was last week, and this fragrance is heavily inspired by MFK's Grand Soir, and you get pressurized atomizer, at least my bottle has, and this is actually a very nice clone of Grand Soir. Initially, when I first got this fragrance, I wasn't very impressed. It felt like a more vanillic take on the original scent itself, but again, this is one of those scents that needed a bit of time to sit around and macerate before actually reaching its full potential. About a month later, now this smells really nice. The ambery sweetness is really ramped up. It feels a bit boozy like the original fragrance, and has really good performance. You know, the scent and the performance have both improved greatly with about a month of maceration. Perfectly unisex scent, that's great for those of you who like sweet vanillic based scents, ambery based scents, and for those of you who really are into sweet fragrances. All around, a great offering from the brand of Fragrance World. My next suggestion is again one of those gems from the brand of Fragrance World, and it's called Jack of Clubs. And this is a fragrance that's cloning or has been heavily inspired by YSL La Nuit de L'Homme Blue Electric. Now, I really like the original fragrance, both original fragrances, the original La Nuit de L'Homme and La Nuit de L'Homme Blue Electric. And Jack of Clubs is actually a very good alternative to Blue Electric, and even to the OG La Nuit de L'Homme. It carries this very signature sexy scent that relies heavily on the notes of cardamom, lavender, some ouds that create this very sexy, very creamy and slightly powdery scent profile. Feels a little bit fresher, just like Blue Electric itself is feeling, but this, to my nose, has a little bit more of a citrusy freshness rather than the gingery freshness that the original fragrance has. But other than that, very similar, especially on the dry down. Performance is on par with the original fragrance, and this may be even a little bit harder projecting than the OG Blue Electric. Price is nice, it comes nicely packaged to get a pack of cards. All around, a great fragrance from the brand of Fragrance World. And my last suggestion for a great fall-time scent from the brand of Fragrance World is called Harmony Cold Absolute. And this is yet another great fragrance from the brand itself, another great gem, another clone of a discontinued designer fragrance. In this case, we're talking about the original, which is called Armani Coat Absolute. And the original fragrance is really nice scent, but unfortunately has been discontinued. But the fortunate part is that we have Harmony Coat Absolute from Fragrance World. Very similar to the original fragrance, very sexy scent that feels sweet, feels powdery, it's leathery, works great in the sort of colder conditions and can serve as a great date night fragrance. Good performance and projection, and the best thing is that it's very affordable. So my last suggestion in today's video is called Harmony Coat Absolute. So guys, there you have it, 10 or to be more precise 11 scents from the brand of Fragrance World that are really good, that are affordable and work really nicely in the fall time. I hope that you found this video interesting to watch. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me tomorrow for your daily dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.